Hello friends, welcome to my channel, myself Parag Jambulkar. In this video, we will see most important concept in C++ language, that is class, object, constructor, destructor, how to take input from the user, how to print output on the screen. So everything we'll see in this video. So first thing that we have to do in C++ program is we have to include header file. So in C++ language, we have to include header file iostream. For example, in C language, we have to include header file std.h. So whatever the predefined classes are there, functions are there, variables are there, those are provided by this header file. So in C++ language, we have to use iostream. For C language, we have to use stdio.h. Now see, next thing, using namespace std. Now see, what is the meaning of this? Using is keyword. And what is the meaning of this? We are using namespace. Namespace is a concept in C++ language, and in one namespace there can be classes, there can be variables, there can be functions. Here we are using namespace with the name std. Std is predefined namespace. We have one video. In that video we will see what do you mean by namespace. std is predefined namespace, and in that predefined namespace we have some classes, and that classes we have to use in our program, and that's why we have to use namespace this std. One simple example I will give. Cout. Cout is an object of ostream class, and the class is defined inside this namespace, and because of that we have to use namespace std. Now see, in C language what we do, there is one more important function, that is the main function, right? In every C++ language program there should be main function like this. Now see, we'll write one more thing, class. So we'll give some name. Now see, this block of statements, okay, so here we will write some statement. So this block of statements, I have defined it, I have declared it as a class, and what name I have given? Sample. Every class should get ended by semicolon. So in C++ language it is compulsory. After every class definition you have to put semicolon. In Java language it is not there. Means in Java language after class definition we don't have to mention semicolon. But in C++ language compulsory after this class block we have to mention semicolon. If we remove this class, still we can write programs in C++ language. As C++ language is originated from the C language, if we don't use class, still it is okay. But class is most important concept in C++ language, as C++ language is object-oriented programming language. Now see, we say C++ language is an object-oriented programming language. Why? Because it follows object-oriented programming paradigm. Before C++, languages were following procedural programming paradigm. What is the meaning of procedural programming paradigm? We are writing procedure. Procedure means what? A set of statements, something like this. This is a set of statements, something like this. So this set of statements, we call it procedure. So we are writing in terms of procedure. We are writing in terms of procedure call. And if program is written in terms of procedure call, so we call it procedural programming paradigm. And languages those follow procedural programming paradigm, those are called as a procedural languages. Now see, so writing a set of statements, that was boring, right? So to make it more realistic, what researchers thought, we should relate programming to the real life object. Real life object. One simple example I will give. So we are surrounded by objects, right? We are surrounded by objects. For example, see, we in our classroom we have fan, right? Fan is an object, duster is an object, bench is an object, everything. Our tiffin is an object. So we are surrounded by objects, right? For example, if we take fan, fan is an object. Now see, fan if we take, it has some parameters. Parameter in the sense, see, it has color, right? It has speed. It requires some voltage, right? Voltage or power it takes, right? So all these are the parameters, right? All these are the parameters. These parameters are called as data members. These are also called as the variables. These are the variables. In C++ language we call them data members. So all the parameters are the variables are data members. Now see, what operations we can perform on this fan? We can switch on, we can switch off, right? We can increase speed, We can decrease speed, right? So all these operations we can perform on this fan, right? These are the parameters those are defining this fan, those are describing this fan, and these are the operations which we can perform on this fan, right? So these operations are denoted by functions. Also they are called as member functions. So see, we can have variables or data members and member functions, right? We can have variables and functions, or we can have data members and member functions, right? So these describe this fan, right? They describe fan object, right? In object-oriented programming paradigm, we are combining these variables and functions together, and it become a class. When we combine these data members and member functions, it becomes a class. Now see, and combining these data members and member functions together, this is called as encapsulation. Encapsulation is a feature of object-oriented programming paradigm. So by this, we combine data members and member functions together, and it become a class. One simple example I will give. So see, fan is a class, right? And we can have multiple fan, right? So F1 is a fan, F2 is another fan, F3 is third fan, right? So all these are the fans, right? All these fans have these parameters, and these fans, on this fan we can perform these operations, right? Now see, so in one classroom there can be 4 fans, 5 fans, right? So these are nothing but the instance of this class. So see, we have fan class, and inside that fan class what we can have? We can have data members, we can have member functions, right? So this is fan class, and these are the instances of fan class, right? So F1 is one fan, F2 is another fan, F3 is third fan, right? So all these are the instances of class fan, right? And these instances of fan, instances of class are called as objects. See, instances of class are called as objects. So one instance, one object. Multiple instances, multiple objects. So in this case, fan is a class. F1, F2, F3, all these are the objects, right? So this is how we got concept of classes in object-oriented programming paradigm, and the feature by which we combine these data members and member functions together, it is called as encapsulation. Encapsulation. So this is a feature of object-oriented programming paradigm. By this, we combine these data members and member functions together inside a class. Apart from encapsulation, there are various features of object-oriented programming paradigm. For example, polymorphism, inheritance, then data abstraction. All these features we'll see in next videos. So see, in this video we'll see how to create class, how to create objects, and how to make use of it. Now see, so we'll come back to our program. So see, this is class and this is a main function, right? So keep in mind, just like C language, every C++ program starts execution from the main function. So that means, so suppose there are the 1000 statements in this program, but execution will start from the main function only. Whatever the first statement is there in the main function, from that statement only execution will start. So we have seen in class there can be data member, that means variables, and there can be member functions, right? There is one more thing that is called an access specifier. Now see, private, public, and protected. These are 3 access specifiers. So protected mostly it is used in inheritance. So now we will not discuss it. Now see, private and public. From the name only we will come to know. Some things can be private. What do you have private? Whatever the variables and the functions that you will make private, that can be used in this block only, in this class only. But whatever the variables and functions, those are public, that variables and functions we can use outside this class. We'll see example. Now see. So I am defining variables A and B. So these are 2 variables. So I have mentioned them private, right? So private is a keyword, and after that colon. And what is the meaning of this? These variables A and B are private. Even we can define function. Suppose I am making void show, like this. I can make this function also private inside this class. But if I make function private inside this class, see, after this private, whatever the things are there, all will become private. If I make function private, so I cannot access it outside this class, outside this block. So what we'll do, we'll make it this function public. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll give some another name. We'll make it get data function. So take input from the user. So we'll take input from the user and that will assign to A and B. Now see, we'll add one more function, show data. And in this function, we'll display values of this variable on screen. So see what I have done. I'm defining A and B, these two variables as private. Then two functions I'm making it public. So see, some variables also I can make it public. In the sense, suppose I'm writing x comma y. So what is the meaning of this? X and y variables I am making it public. So I can use outside the class. So any variable and function we can make it private and public. Based on our need, we can use our access specifier. So see, we don't need this, so I am removing this. What I have told before, class is collection of data members and member function. Data members means variables and function. So see, here we have defined this class, we have variables and we have this function, right? Now see, we will use this get data function to take input from the user and that will assign to A and B. So see, first thing that we will do, we will put one message on the screen. Now see what is the meaning of this. First I will write statement, enter first number. Now see, this string, whatever I have mentioned in double quote, that will get printed on the screen. NL is used to get control to the next line. Now see, so by this message we are showing to user. Then user will enter some number and that we have to assign to this variable. Now see, int, float, double, these are the data types. So in next video we will see what are the data types in C++ language. So see, we are asking user to enter first number and we will assign it to variable A. So see, cout is an object of poststream class. This is an insertion operator. This two angles, these are the insertion operator, two less than symbol that we have mentioned. So that is the insertion operator. Then in double quote we have mentioned something, and endl means to get control to the next line. Scene is an object of iStream class. This is called as the extraction operator and variable that we have mentioned. See, so by this what we are doing, we are asking user to enter first number and that whatever the value that is entered by user that will assign to A. In the same way, we will do for B. In double quote, we will mention this. Now see, enter second number. Now see, that also will assign to B. Okay, so that part we have done, right? Now see, what are the values of A and B? Those are entered by the user. So that values of A and B already here we have assigned to A and B, right? Now we'll print it on the screen. So here I am writing cout statement. So in double quote, I will mention value of A is equal to, and we have to mention value of A, right? So what we have to do, A and then this. See here what we have done. Cout is an object of poststream class, so it is used to print something on the screen. Then this is the insertion operator. This string will get printed on the screen. Then again insertion operator, and after that A is in variable, right? A is in variable. So whatever the variable that we have defined here, so that variable we have mentioned here, and again insertion operator and endl, right? In the same way we will write for B, cout. So in double quote we will mention value of B is equal to, again insertion operator, B and L, right? So this is insertion operator and this is extraction operator. Okay, now see, so by show data we are printing values of A and B on the screen, and by in this function get data function we are taking input from the user and that we are assigning to A and B. Okay, now see, So we have written this class, right? So already we have discussed in class we can have variables and we can have functions, right? So in this case, in our example, we have two variables a and b, and we have two functions, get data and show data. We have used access specifier private and public, right? There is one more access specifier protected. So protected, it is used in inheritance. So afterwards, when we will discuss inheritance, at that time we will see. So see, private means we can use these variables inside this class block only, inside this class only, and whatever public components are there, whatever the public variables and functions are there, that variables and function, public variables and function can be accessed outside this class. Now see, so we have written class. Okay. Now see, but how to make use of this class? In the beginning, I have told every C++ program starts execution from the main function only, and its execution is nothing but this block only. From this block, inside this block, we have to make use of this class. Now see how to make use of this class. See here that I have told. One example we have seen, right? Fan is in class, and F1, F2, F3, all these are the objects, right? Instances of class are called as objects, right? Now see, to make use of variables and function inside class, we have to create object. Sample is a class, right? We can create any number of objects. For example, S1, S2. Likewise, I can create any number of classes and I can give any name. So it is not compulsory to give name like S1 and S2. I can give name U, L, M, any name I can give, right? I can give my name also, right? So any name I can give. Now see, so in this example, I am giving name S1. Okay, so I can create any number of objects. In C++ language, see, after every statement, we have to put semicolon like this. Here also we have seen, see, semicolon we have put, right? So just like we are putting in C language, in the same way, we have to mention semicolon after every statement. So here also we are mentioning, right? What is the meaning of this? S1 is an object of sample class, and by this object we can make use of whatever the components are there. Now see, so I have to call get data function, right? I have to call this get data function. By this get data function, we will take input from the user, right? Now see how to call in main function. So see how these functions are called: object name dot and then function name. Get data is our function name, right? So see, S1 is an object name dot get data function name, and after that round bracket. So by this we will call get data function. Next function, S1, that is our object dot show data, right? After that round brackets, and at the end semicolon. So see, by this we are calling get data function, and after that we are calling show data function. See, so by this we are accessing this function, right? So we can do this because get data and show data, these are the public members, right? These are the public members. So that's why we can call it outside this class. So see, class is getting over here only, right? But we are accessing this get data and show data function outside this class. How? By creating object. By this object we are accessing it. Even see, we can access variables also. So see, in our case as1.a, that variable also we can access. But in our example we have made it private, right? We have made private. As a and b are private members, so I cannot access directly here, but we can access it by using get data and show data functions, because see, get data and show data function are defined inside class, right? So private members we can use inside class, right? So in this function we can use a and b variables, but here outside this class we cannot access a and b because those are private. If I make it public, so see, instead of this private, if I make this public, in that case we can make use of a and b. So for example, see, suppose I am writing one statement like this: cout s1.a. So I can do like this because a now is now public, right? So here I can print. If it is private, then we cannot access it, right? We cannot access it. So again we will make it private. Now see, so here we have called show data and get data function. So now we will run our code. So I have saved my program. Now see, we'll run it. So terminal, we'll compile it first. So program name is class example.cpp. No compilation error. Now we'll run it. So I'm running in Visual Studio Code. So that's why A, that is output file. Now see, tab. So we got this a.exe, right? Now press enter. So see, it is asking enter first number, right? So I will enter something 3. Enter. Now it is asking enter second number. So suppose I am entering 5. Right? Now see, value of a is equal to 3, value of b is equal to 5. Right? So in this way, we have run our program by using class. Right? So see, we have written this class sample. In that class, we have variables a and b. We have created two functions, get data and show data. And here we have created object of this class sample, and we have called get data and show data function. Right? Now see, we can also pass variables or parameters to this function. So see, something like this. Suppose 3 here I have mentioned. Likewise, you can pass parameters to function, but to accept that parameter, here we have to mention some formal parameter. So see, this is our actual parameter, and to accept that, we have to mention here formal parameter like this. Now see, when we are calling this get data function, so here I have mentioned 3, right? So and here is integer x, right? So x will be assigned by 3. So likewise also we can pass values to functions. Now see, in this case we are not passing. Now see, there is one important concept that is called a constructor. So constructor, basically those are used to initialize this data member. So what do I mean by constructor, that we'll see. Constructor is a special type of function, just like we have get data function, show data function, right? Constructor is a special type of function. I am writing here first sample. Now see, round bracket. Okay, so if you compare other function, or if you compare get data function, what is the difference? See, it has the same name as that of class. See, sample is a class name, and this constructor has the same name as that of class. So functions have a different name, but constructor is a function only. Constructor is a special function. It has the same name as that of class. Now see, every function has some return type, right? Constructor doesn't have any return type, right? Then constructor is called automatically, in the sense, see, for other functions you have to call it by using object, but constructors are called automatically whenever you are creating object. See, here I am putting one statement. So mostly these constructors are used to initialize this variable. For example, see, a is equal to 4, then b is equal to 9, something like that. So mostly constructors are used to initialize these variables, data members. And suppose here I am putting some message, something like this, inside constructor. So that statement I am putting here. Now see, we'll run our code. Let us see what output we'll get. So I have saved my program. We'll compile it. Now see, we'll run our code. So see, inside constructor, right, this message we got. So how we got this message? We have not called constructor, right? But still we got that output. How we got? So whenever we are creating object, at the time automatically this constructor is called, right, like this. Now see, this constructor can accept parameters, but we are not passing any parameter in this case, right? This is called a default constructor. That means constructor which is not accepting any parameter, that is called a default constructor. We can write another constructor also. So this is a default constructor, right? So here I will mention inside default constructor, and here we'll put NL. Now see, we can write constructor which will accept parameters, something like this. See, suppose I am mentioning integer x comma integer y. Okay, so these two parameters I have mentioned. Now see, suppose I am writing like this: a is equal to x and b is equal to y. Okay, and here one message I will mention inside. Now see, constructor which is not accepting any parameter, that is called a default constructor, and constructor which is accepting some parameters, those are called as parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. Now see, so what we'll do, we will mention here, we are inside this parameterized constructor. So we have seen two types of constructor, right? One is a default constructor which is not accepting any parameter, and constructor which is accepting parameters, right? Now see, which constructor will get called. So see here, when we have created object s1, so we have not passed any parameter, right? Suppose we are creating some other object, sample s2, and there we are passing some parameters, something like 5 and 6, right? So now see, in this case we are not passing any parameter, that's why default constructor will get called, and here we are passing parameters, and because of that parameterized constructor will get called. Now see, two types of constructor we have seen. There is one more type that is called as a copy constructor. We will have separate video on copy constructor. Afterwards you can go through it. Now see, we'll run our code. Let us see what output we'll get. So got compiled. Now we'll run our code. So see, when we have created this object s1, so at that time this default constructor is called, and we got this output inside default constructor. Then we have created object s2, but at that time we have passed some parameter, right? 5 and 6. That's why we got inside parameterized constructor, right? After that we have called get data function and show data function, right? So get data function is asking some value, so any value I'm mentioning, and here we got the output, right? So this is how we can use constructor. Now see, there is one more concept that is called as a destructor. Now what is the meaning of destructor? See, just like we have constructor, we have destructor. It is similar to constructor in the sense, see, it has the same name as that of class. Constructor also have the same name as that of class. Destructor also have the same name as that of class. But while defining destructor, we have to use symbol tilde. So likewise we have to mention. Now see, like there are some differences between constructor and destructor. See, constructor no need to mention tilde, but for destructor, this is destructor. We have to mention symbol tilde, right? Constructor can accept parameter. Destructor is not accepting any parameter. See some message here I am putting. Cout and L, and here in double quote will mention it, some message inside destructor. Now see, constructors are called when object is created, right? So when destructors are called automatically, but when lifetime of an object is over. See what I am saying? When lifetime of an object is over, at that time destructors are called. Simple example, see. So here we have created s1 object, right? So where we can use scope of this s1 object is in this block only, right? Before the termination of s1 object, this destructor is called. So see here, before this curly bracket, so lifetime will be here only, right? So at that time this destructor will get called. So now see, we are creating two objects, so two times this destructor will get called. So what we'll do, we'll run our code. We'll compile our code. So no compilation error. Now we'll run it. So see, inside default constructor, from the default constructor we got this output. Inside parameterized constructor, from this object we got this output. So some number I am entering here. Now see, value of a is equal to 3, value of b is equal to 3. Now see, inside destructor, again we got inside destructor. Why two times? Because we have created two objects. Before terminating this s1 and s2 objects, destructors are called. So see, for s1 and s2, as we have two objects, two times destructors are called. So in this way we can define class, object, constructor, destructor in C++ programming language. I will provide this code in description box or resources. From there you can take it.